This one's about our captain, our leader, the nicest man in football, and he's just always in my head. He's with me, he's Sonny, part of our family. In your head, Son is flying, leading us with his pace and that smile on his face. At the lane, we're all crying. He's in my head, Sonny, 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 Sonny.
We know Spurs pair Heung-min Son, Christian Romero will be assisted. Hopefully, they'll be assisting. Will be assessed for knocks sustained during the international break when they report back to the club on Friday. Although, as we understand from Dan Kilpatrick from the Standard, that there's no serious concern for either player. Romero was withdrawn shortly after half-time for Argentina in their World Cup qualifying win over Peru. Son, meanwhile, played a full 90 minutes for South Korea following their win over Vietnam. I think what we have to bear in mind, to start with you, George, is that two guys in Son, Romero, very much passionate for their countries. I don't think they're going to want to miss games, like we've heard in our last show from Tim Vickery, who covers the South American continent, that, yeah, players want to play for their club. It's a massive, massive honour. It's a massive, massive prestige. And quite frankly, we've got to maybe understand that and accept that and deal with that, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's always been the case, isn't it, that especially in South America, like you said, where they fight for everything for their country. I think it's a little bit different over here because obviously we have the league in this country and the players obviously aren't necessarily traveling far for it. It might be viewed just a bit differently. I think the Sonny one is strange because that first game when he was basically, I think he was an unused sub. I think everyone was buzzing that he was getting a bit of rest, but then it came to, I think it was a friendly against Vietnam as well, playing the whole 90 and just, you could see there was discomfort at half time. He was still, even when he scored, the way, like he couldn't even celebrate. He seemed to be struggling a lot. So I couldn't be the only one scrolling through Twitter, just hoping that he was taken off, but sadly wasn't. So I'm hoping he's okay. I think we've come through relatively unscathed so far. Like you said, we've got to wait and see what the full extent is for a lot of the injuries. But I think it's good that players like Brennan Johnson's had a full rest. Hopefully he's available on Monday because, we're going to need him on the wings. Hopefully Sonny is fit and is fine after the travelling. But yeah, I think that's been definitely the main worry is those two, considering how important they are. We don't really have the backups at centre-back or even striker, considering, Richarlison isn't exactly performing the way we wanted him to.
Yeah, just interesting one, Tal. Come over to you. And I think this, again, kind of, as I've said earlier, almost accentuates the fact we just need to get to January now, battle ourselves through there and look at the areas which do need significant area of depth improvement. And I think, as George has, quite eloquently said there, those are two of the areas, Son's position and Romero's, what you do for in January. They're going to be quite key if Tottenham can maintain his form. They're going to have to go in the market and maybe address both areas. But can you understand it, Tal, in terms of those players wanting to play for their countries and saying that as Spurs fans? I think we have to accept. And I've got to say, what's great is that, I think Son has always, he always put South Korea first. But at the same time, there's that respect that he knows he's Tottenham's main man now being the captain. And I've got to say, isn't it nice, Tal, seeing Romero coming out on international duty saying that he understands coming off a half-time was right, needs to get back for Tottenham. It's a really important game against Fulham. Just what's happened to that guy in the last 12 months? It really has been that masterstroke, hasn't it, Tal, in terms of that vice-captaincy?
100%. I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, we're talking about our captain and one of our vices here. So they are two huge players in our squad. But we've all seen that change in Romero. It's crazy, I mean, the fact he didn't get a yellow for a good chunk of these first few games was like huge. I mean, you can see that he's really grown up and is taking this responsibility seriously. But look, I think you've got to understand it. Players want to play for their country. It means a lot to them, especially when they're some of the stars like Sonny is. Sonny's such a nice guy. He'd never want to miss a game for a club or country. And I think like we've all seen, he's been playing through an injury for far too long for both teams, really. And that's sad to see. But, you know, we all want him to play. I mean, we want everyone to play. But yeah, Romero and Sonny are two very key players for us. I mean, Sonny, I guess, especially because where Rishi is lacking, we really need Sonny up front. And yeah, I mean, the partnership that Van der Ven and Romero are building, it is just special, isn't it? We're all thinking of the Jan Toby days. So we wouldn't want to see anyone be injured out of those two because, you know, they're building something special. And we want to keep going, you know, we've got good stats going. We want to build momentum. We've got to keep them both fit. But yeah, look, you can't slate them for wanting to play for their countries. I don't think you can. It's not the right thing to do. And we all eye roll when players are injured or whatever. We're all like, no, they're not. And how they're just miraculously, you know what I mean? Miraculously fit when they get back to club. So it's like, works both ways. So nah, you got to let them do it. But fingers and toes crossed.
Look, and I've got to say, you know, Fulham, to be fair, they've blown hot and cold this season so far. They've had a win, a draw, and a defeat in their first 3 games against Everton, Brentford, and Arsenal. That set the tone really for their campaign. Since then, they lost 5-2 at Manchester City. They beat Luton by 1-0, and they played out a goalless draw with Palace. Chelsea, they left Craven Cottage with a 2-0 win, but Fulham paused for the 2-week break with a 3-1 victory against Sheffield United. And for them now, Fulham, they're hoping for their first away win of the campaign against Tottenham. So that's where things do stand. We'll kick off with you, Jules, that they sit 12th in the league at the moment. 3 wins, as many defeats, and the 2 draws so far for them. What kind of Fulham are you expecting on Monday night?
It's a weird one. You know what? To be honest with you, without Mitrovic, I'm not as bothered. I think that's always been like a tough battle, especially since most of the time recently it's been Sanchez versus Mitrovic. So
I've just got this image in my head. Cue the Carlos Vinicius return.
Oh no, don't!
Oh yeah,
right.
Not again. Not this.
And look, and as much as I hate to say it, now I'm sort of out, folks. Wait, yeah, I hate to say it because he's obviously an ex-Gooner, but I think Leno has been a very decent keeper for Fulham, so it's definitely a player to watch out for. But all in all, it's not a team that I think we should be struggling against, especially at home. So I think, provided, like we just said about all the injuries, provided that it's all okay and we've got some playing, maybe Brennan Johnson's back, I think we shouldn't really have any issues. Definitely not at home anyway.